You've got your working holiday visa approved. You've got a flight booked. You're pumped, you're ready. And then someone asks you, how much money are you bringing? And you suddenly have no idea what to say. Here's the truth, most backpackers arrive in Australia with either way too little and blow their trip in the first 6 weeks, or they oversave and miss the whole point of the adventure. In 2026, the cost of backpacking Australia has shifted significantly. Inflation, new hostel models, regional transport gaps, the old numbers do not apply. I'm going to give you the real budget breakdown, the framework that actually works. By the end of this video you will know exactly how much money you need, down to the week. Stay with me, because in about 3 minutes I'm going to share a tool that will change how you plan this entire trip. Before we talk Australia, we need to talk about your numbers to meet your goals. Step 1 is to run a pre-arrival budget audit, that means listing every single cost before your feet hit Australian soil. Firstly, you need to budget for your return or one-way flight, comprehensive travel insurance, which is mandatory for working holiday visa holders, and your actual visa fee, which in 2026 sits at AUD $635 for subclass 417 and 462. You also need to budget for an international SIM or ESIM for your first week, a cash buffer for arrival day transport and your first night, and your banking setup. Set up a Wise account and an Australian bank account before you fly. This move alone can save you up to $200 in conversion and ATM fees. That pre-arrival block alone can cost you between AUD $1,500 and $3,000 before you've had your coffee. Calculate that number, then we move to your daily costs. Here's what a realistic day costs across 3 budget levels in 2026. In budget mode, hostel dorm, cooking your own meals, local transport only, you're looking at $70 to $110 per day. In mid-range mode, mixing hostel privates, some eating out, and occasional ride shares, expect $155 to $240 per day. Full comfort mode with Airbnbs and restaurants will run you $310 to $400 per day. The backpacker sweet spot in 2026 is roughly AUD $80 to $130 per day, depending if you are staying in a big city or a smaller town. That means using communal hostel kitchens, staying in social dorms, and using public transport wherever it exists. It sounds tight, but it's very doable, and your income will change everything. Which brings us to the numbers nobody talks about. Here's a secret nobody tells you about regional Australia. In major cities you have transport, food, and accommodation options at every price point. Once you're fruit picking in the Riverina or working in the Kimberley, your accommodation might be tied to your employer and your food costs drop, but getting to and from those regions can blow your budget if you haven't planned for it. Always factor in a regional transport line item before you commit to a rural placement. In our time managing and staying in hostels in Australia, we have known people having to go home early or even stealing food from other guests to survive because they did not budget correctly. Don't be one of those people. Plan ahead and create your realistic budget now and follow to it, at least until you have a job in Australia. In future videos, we will show the secrets no one else will tell you about how to live in Australia for less money while still enjoying life and time with your friends in one of the best countries in the world. Subscribe now and sign up for our free emails. Here's where Australia's working holiday system becomes genuinely powerful, if you know how to use it. In 2026, the minimum wage in Australia sits at AUD $24.10 per hour, one of the highest in the world. Hospitality casual rates with weekend penalties can push you to $28 to $34 per hour. Regional agricultural work is often piece rate, which means fast workers earn significantly more. Let's model what that actually looks like. Work 30 hours a week at $24 an hour and you gross $720 per week. After the working holiday make a flat tax rate of 15%, you're taking home around $612 per week. Subtract $110 per day in living costs and you're running a small weekly deficit, but bump to 38 hours, or land a hospitality role with weekend rates, and you flip into surplus within week 2. The single biggest budget lever you have in Australia is your job type and your hours. This is not a passive trip, it's an active financial operation if you want it to fund itself. The backpackers who struggle are the ones who wait weeks before finding stable work. The ones who thrive treat job hunting like their first shift starts on day 1. This channel, Backpack Australia, has contact with hundreds of eligible working holiday visa employers around Australia. Subscribe to this channel and join our free email list for more information. Coming up, the emergency fund formula that every experienced backpacker swears by, and the one account setup mistake that cost one traveler we know over $400 AUD in their first month. Don't be that person. Emergency fund, non-negotiable. The rule is 20% of your total planned budget, kept completely separate from your spending account. In real terms, if your 6-month trip budget is $15,000 AUD, your emergency fund is $3,000, sitting in a high-interest savings account that you can access internationally. What counts as an emergency in Australia? Medical treatment, because even with travel insurance there are gap costs. Lost or stolen gear, a sudden change in accommodation, which is common in share houses. Regional transport failure, or a visa issue requiring legal advice. Any one of these can derail your trip if you haven't set the money aside in advance. The Smart 2026 banking setup is simple. Use Wise for your day-to-day international spending and currency conversion. Please use the link in the video description for a special deal when joining Wise. It will save you money. Open an Australian bank account. CommBank and NAB both offer fee-free backpacker accounts with easy digital sign-up. Set both up before you fly and you'll land in Australia already financially organised. I want to hear from you right now. Drop your home country and your target Australian Tate in the comments below. I will personally reply with a specific budgeting tip for your situation. Whether you're heading to the tropics, the outback, or the west coast, the numbers are different and the strategy needs to match. Let's talk about the Hostel ecosystem, because in 2026 it has evolved, and if you're not using it strategically you're spending too much. Modern Australian hostels are not just places to sleep. The best ones are social infrastructure, community kitchens, notice boards, WhatsApp groups where job leads, ride shares, and discounted activity bookings circulate daily. Here's a 2026 shift worth knowing. Many hostels now operate formal work for stay programs. You contribute 3 to 4 hours a day on front desk, cleaning, or social media in exchange for a free or heavily discounted bed. This was always possible, but post-COVID it became formalized. Ask at check-in, every single time. The social element of hostel life is also your intelligence network. The backpacker who's been in Cairns for 6 weeks knows which restaurant is hiring, which farm pays above award rates, and which stretch of road you can hitch without waiting 4 hours. That information is worth real money. Invest in your social capital from day one. Here are your quick win hostel budget tips for 2026. Cook 5 out of 7 meals in the communal kitchen. That saves you approximately $200 per week. Shop at larger supermarkets like Aldi, IGA Express, Coles or Woolworths, or local markets, not smaller convenience stores or petrol stations. Get a weekly or monthly transit card for your city immediately. Here's the thing about Australia, the greatest experiences are often the cheapest ones. Hiking the Blue Mountains is free. Watching the Milky Way in the outback is free. Swimming at Wineglass Bay in Tasmania, road tripping the Gibb River Road, surfing a beginner break on the Gold Coast at 6 a.m. Free, free, free. Budget your paid adventure activities deliberately. Set an experience budget of 10 to 15% of your weekly income specifically for tours and paid experiences. This stops you from either blowing money on impulse bookings or being so budget locked that you never do anything. The Aussie hustle is not about suffering through your trip counting cents. In our future videos, we will tell you how you can find the best experiences in Australia for free or very cheaply. Subscribe to this channel and sign up for our free emails so you don't miss out on the best time ever in Australia. Let's recap your 2026 Australia budget framework. Run your pre-arrival audit and know your before you land costs. Set your daily target at $70 to $130 and model your income honestly. Keep your emergency fund at 20% in a separate account, always. Use hostel infrastructure to eat, network, and potentially earn, and set a dedicated experience budget so adventure stays part of the plan. If this video helped you, share it with whoever you're planning this trip with. The worst thing that can happen on a working holiday is your travel partner running out of money and having to go home early. Subscribe to Backpack Australia. We drop new strategy content every week. Sign up for our free email to get job information and more content. Every backpack has a story. Go out and write yours. See you in the next video.